Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Fintech Fridays. I'm Brian Vieaux, President, Chief Operating Officer at FinLocker, and I'm super excited today to talk with Spencer Dusebout, who's the founder and CEO of Aidium. Spencer, welcome to my podcast.
Yeah, great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we've been running in the same circles, so I'm excited to kind of dig in. And so first off, let's do that. Let's just dive right in. And for those that are tuning in and aren't familiar with you and your company, your product, just tell us a little bit about what Aidium's been working on, what you're doing, and how you're serving the housing finance space today.
Yeah, absolutely. So at Aidium, we like to think of ourselves as a solutions provider to the mortgage industry. And really what that means is, we have a couple of core products, but our underlying philosophy is how can we help our customers provide a best-in-class experience to their clients and to ultimately do more loans. And that's how we approach it. And really kind of the way that our technology works is we have, what we kind of label a CRM, but we think internally as more of an end-to-end solution. So really automating the entire borrower's journey, the moment you get a lead from your referral partner through the transaction, all the way, for that kind of client for life concept as well. We're that one system that can do all of that for you. And on top of that, I think what we're becoming more and more known for is sort of the data transparency piece of it too, to really help our customers understand what are their sales funnel look like, where are they doing well, where are there areas for improvement, and really taking that data-driven approach, which I think has been elusive to a lot of companies in this space. And so I think, high level, that's our philosophy, and maybe, the two things that we like to unlock for our customers.
Love that. So we're going to go pretty deep in a couple of these topics, but before we do that, I'm always fascinated to kind of understand the story on how you got to where you're at, right? So you're the founder and CEO. So tell us about, what led you to start Aidium and to create these products.
Yeah, I mean, I've been really a serial entrepreneur my entire life. I eventually created a company that was doing sort of predictive data on the real estate side, so predicting when people become more likely to maybe sell their home, generating leads around that, selling leads to realtors. And I think through that process, got a great understanding, kind of working with realtors, sort of the persona. There's a lot of pressure, they're picking up the phone day or night, really not knowing who's calling on their caller ID. I think that just speaks to the nature of a real estate transaction. They all want to do right by their customers. They all want more time back into their days. And I think just looking under the hood, there wasn't a lot of automation there to really, these leads we were sending them, they might call them once, maybe twice. But, these are internet leads. It takes 5 to 10 touch points oftentimes to really get them, in the door. And then also just the transaction itself, a lot of moving parts. Seems like no one's always, on the same page. Right. I realized sort of the lender is the quarterback in a sense, where you have to get the funding for it to, for the loan to go through, and just saw that there was a lot of technology in this space that had been built, 10, 15 years ago and not really iterated upon, and just saw an opportunity to bring, the best of sort of what modern technology has to offer into this space to ultimately, help the loan officer get more time back into their day and close more loans.
I love that. So a couple of things that kind of struck me as you were talking, and one of them, we're all painfully aware of the market we're in today, right? So we're, in the end of 2023, it's been an interesting ride here, but painful for a lot. What we talk about a lot, or I talk about a lot, is prospective first-time homebuyers as one segment, right? And in my view, it's never been more critical for loan originators and real estate professionals, frankly, to be able to get real engagement with that prospective homebuyer as early in that process as possible. And then, when you combine all the issues the industry's faced with, affordability, inventory, blah, 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 you now have this elongated nurture cycle that's probably longer than it's ever been for most originators. So maybe talk about how because that, to me, that's a real life problem that the industry faces. And I would think that you all are kind of focused on helping them touch the consumer earlier in the journey, but also B, and maybe more importantly, or most importantly, stay meaningfully engaged for a longer period of time.
Yeah, I think there's a couple ways that we sort of look at that. I think there's this idea of the sales funnel, which is like for every lead that you get, what happens, right? And we know these metrics just for the number of clients that we work with, but also I think these statistics are sort of widely published. But for every 100 leads a loan officer gets, roughly 20 of those convert an application, 10 actually fund, and then two do repeat business with you, right? And so, I think there's definitely something to be said for I need more leads, I want to buy more leads, or need more referral partners. But I think there's also something to be said for, hey, for every 100 leads that I get, can I get 30 completed applications? Can I do 15 loans? Can I do repeat business with 4 customers, right? That's low hanging fruit. You can just tighten up your processes and invest in technology to really tighten that up. And so I think we approach it from that standpoint, which is like, and we get more granular, but like, what are the points that you're losing, customers? Is it when someone starts an application in your point of sale and they're all hyped up about it and they realize they have to upload all these documents and they just say, yeah, I'll do that later, right? And they never do. That's why 100 leads, only 20 convert applications, right? And it's hard to get in there and make those follow-up calls. And so like we have automated workflows to help you with that. Another thing that we see often, to your point, with these kind of buying cycles, and just the nature of the market is, we see this when maybe someone gets pre-qualified and they're sort of shopping around, and then maybe they decide, maybe it's not a good time for me right now, or I would if the rates are a little lower, or maybe my realtor can't show me a house that I'm interested in. I'm going to shop the realtor, then I'm going to shop you as a lender again. And so, again, we put a lot of automation in place to say, we don't want that drop off to happen for you, right? We're going to continue to nurture and engage with that customer, right? Because you could lose a loan or two. You already got them pre-qualified, right? You're at third base. Like, let's help you take them home. And so I look at it from that perspective, and then also just fresh, engaging content along the way. When someone's in your database, you're making contact with them. How can we be intelligent to put stuff in front of them? Whether it's market updates coming from a place of value. So I think it's identifying the points where people drop off, automating that to make sure that they don't, and then also providing useful content on an ongoing basis is sort of the things that we do. And I know there's a lot of other things that people do, and I know FinLocker touches a lot of that as well. But I think that's kind of what we focused on at Aidium for the most part.
So, we've got this I'm seeing this growing population of loan advisors, mortgage advisors, financial influencers that are taking to social media to start, really building a following, leading with financial education. How are you seeing customers of yours that are in that space? And then how are you supporting, that lead gen strategy of social and connecting what happens on Instagram, TikTok, and getting it like actionable in a database?
Yeah, I think there's certainly a trend in that direction, and that can work for a lot of people. It's like anything, it's consistency. So, if you can carve the time and have the interest and to do, I think we should all play to our strengths. Some people are, great at creating content on TikTok. Others are great at going to a happy hour with realtors, right? So I think you play to your strengths. I think for us, it's like, we have a number of different integrations and very flexible platform. So wherever those leads are coming from, whether it be social, referral partner, like a lending tree, wherever, right? You may use Zillow. We're integrating and we're using similar workflows and content to kind of convert them. So yeah, I think we're definitely seeing a trend there. And we do have kind of some content and integrations to social media as well, where you can kind of put content out on Facebook or LinkedIn and whatnot. I'd say it's not like, our greatest strength, but,
Right.
I think the way we look at it is we want to, be the best at one thing. And if we can improve your sales funnel, and you're getting more loans and saving time, then I think that's where we would steer customers is great. However, you're getting those leads, let's make sure that they're coming into ADM, and then that's where we can kind of work our magic for you.
Love that. So when we talk about like your customer, I'm going to make an assumption that you have kind of two customers. Probably you have the enterprise, right?
Mhm.
Who maybe that's where you start. That's where all the heavy lift is around, integrations and connecting the dots. And then you have a second customer. One might argue they're the primary customer at the end of the day because
Yeah.
they're at the top of the funnel. How do you juggle kind of prioritization between those two kind of personas, the enterprise and the loan officer, from a kind of a needs assessment and then delivering against those needs?
Yeah. So what we like to say is we're, focus on, we focus on the loan officer and are embraced by the enterprise, if you will. Because you are right. We work with a number of enterprises, of course. And then we don't discourage a team of 5 LOs or, brokerage or whatever to sign up and work with us. And so the way I look at it is, like, if the loan officer is using it and getting value, then we sort of have done our job. Right now,
Yeah.
does that mean that we have to get our have our SOC 2 and different integrations and enterprise reporting for our enterprise customers? Like, absolutely, we have to do that, and along with some of the marketing automation stuff, of course. But I think we lean more on the side of, we want to make sure that we're checking all the boxes our enterprise customers need. But at the end of the day, we're really delivering a great product to the LOs. And I think that there are other products out there that really focus on the marketing director and being a partner to them. And
Right.
I think that that's great. And there's a place for that. I think that ultimately, LOs maybe aren't adopting that product because they're not a marketing director, right? And
Yeah.
the product wasn't built for them. And so I think we lean LO heavy and make sure that we kind of check the boxes for the enterprise. And, we'll definitely build, and collaborate and partner with them, of course, but, we're not going to do it at the expense of the loan officer really liking our product and engaging it with it.
Yeah. I mean, in this environment, this market where we're, clearly in a purchase heavy market, and we will be for, some period of time going forward,
Yeah.
That distributed local loan officer is the top of the funnel for most enterprise lenders today. And you hit on something that I think is pretty important to maybe emphasize is you have the ability to focus on, small teams, brokerage, small companies, but you're not doing it at the expense of, security and all the best practices from a privacy and security perspective. So I'm hearing this, if I'm a small team leader, I'm going to get all the benefits that a large enterprise would get from a security standpoint and stability standpoint, but be able to have it in a economical model that fits my small enterprise. And that's actually, I think, a pretty important point for people to understand about Aidium, is that you get the ability to have this tool that is scalable enough for large enterprises, and more importantly, secure enough to kind of pass and all the check marks that need to be checked, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and we encourage working with the small teams. I think, the reality is this is a very much of a relationship-based industry, and it's hard to go knock on a IMB's door and say, "Hey, you got to use Aidium," right? And
Yeah.
that happens. It's great when it happens, of course. And but I think for us, like, it's, we kind of have this term we call internally land and expand, but we're we're fine with that. We get a top producing team or a branch or individuals within a certain IMB, and it becomes pretty clearly, at a certain point that they're seeing an ROI, right? And I think that's why we focused on the data piece. I think we didn't. I mean, it's not really done in this space. There's not a lot of great enterprise reporting or kind of LO, reporting, if you will. It's definitely a pain point. So we see that. But also, like, we want to prove the ROI of what we're doing. And so we found that if we can get a team on there, and when they started, because we're going to get all of your historical data from the LOS,
Yeah.
maybe your conversion rate was 20% lead to application, maybe you're better, right? I mean, but once we show it's 30%, and you show the someone at the enterprise, it becomes really hard to say, well, we shouldn't roll this out or, give this to our customers and so, to our loan officers. And so, yeah, I think we're totally fine going either way, top down, bottoms up. And that's again why our strategy is if the loan officer is doing more loans and are using the product, then it's going to work out for us one way or another.
Right. So in this kind of current state, this current part of the cycle, right, where there's not as many transactions occurring that anyone would like, I spend a lot of time talking about how important it is to scale the conversations you're having as an individual loan officer. None of us can control inventory and affordability. What we can control is how many conversations we're having on a daily, weekly, monthly basis that set us up for those improvements on those numbers. So if my 100 applications started with 200 conversations, how do I make my 200 conversations 300, 350, 400, right? And then the waterfall takes care of itself. I'm curious if you guys think about, similar kind of metrics and what you can be doing even further up the funnel that you can measure positively. It may not equate directly to a loan, but that these actions, these engagements down the road, if done at scale, will have positive results.
Yeah. And so I think there's two parts of that we look at. One, it is sort of the referral component or from like a past client, if you will, where I think there's a study that came, and I can send you a link, but that basically said for the first time, people actually, loan officers got more repeat business, or got more business from past clients making recommendations and actual referral partners. Now, obviously, this is a challenging market, but still, I think that says something, right? And so, again, are you staying in front of those past clients? Did you provide a great experience for them when they were going through everything? So I think for us, it's like, how can we help you optimize that part of it? And then I think the other, both the best in class experience and staying in front of them. I do think the other part of it too, again, is have that data driven approach. And look, I mean, more activity is going to lead to more output, but obviously it's got to be the smart, type of activity too, right? And so we're big on that, and sort of within our kind of reporting and coaching app, if you will, we identify a lot of that for you, which is what is your activity looking like, and what is that doing for you, right? So it's not only how can we maybe free up your time, so you're not getting a call from a realtor 20 times during a transaction. Like we're texting them, we're letting them know what's going on as the loan progresses through the LOS and whatever. So we're freeing up your time to have more conversations, but we're also kind of showing you like, hey, when you're doing these things or you have this level of activity or you're engaging people in this campaign, this is what this is leading you to. Right now, it's just a little bit of a black box, right? It's like, unfortunately, and that's the problem we want to solve with data. We want it to be very clear, like this is what's working, this is not what's working. And right now, I think there's a lot of guessing, and that's not fun for anyone, right? Because you might be spending time on something you really shouldn't be, and you might be doing just really crushing something that you should double down on. And so we want to unlock that for the LO as well.
Yeah, it's obvious, but until you actually see the numbers, it's not so obvious, right? And so being able to be coached on your own data is pretty powerful, I think.
Yeah, we get that a lot. It's when I say the 100 loan leads to 20 completed application. Like we've had a lot of conversations with certain enterprises that say that's not our ratio, and the question back is, well, what's your ratio?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. So how do you know that's not your ratio, right? And if that is your ratio, is there anything better you can do to keep your LOs engaged and happy and bought into working at your company than to say we are committed to helping improve your funnel and do more loans, right? I mean, talk about the best tool for retaining your LOs, and the best way to recruit new LOs is you say, this is what we do to your sales funnel, right? It's not, right now it seems a little bit like, we we throw great parties, or we like each other, or whatever, and that's why you should stick around. And those are all good reasons for sure, right? And there's more to that, of course, but I do think like adding that element of the sales funnel and tightening that up and helping your LOs do more loans. I mean, hard to leave once you show that to them and empirically prove it to them through the data process. Like they're never going to leave, right?
Yeah, I
So
agree totally. So, last few minutes here, I always am curious, kind of as you look at the landscape. What are some of the cool things that you all are working on that you can share, and you're comfortable sharing, of course, that that are on the roadmap that people should be paying attention to from Aidium going forward.
yeah, we'll have some cool announcements in January, kind of around maybe an extension of the reporting and coaching stuff. Maybe more around the coaching element for the branch manager to coach their producers, maybe more on the data warehouse side for the enterprise to really house all their data in one spot, sort of have a single source of truth. So we've got some cool kind of product announcements around that, if you will. And I think also just doing, again, as a solutions provider, we're going to we have a heavy focus on sort of content for the first half of next year, which is, maybe right now we call them playbooks. Like we have kind of 30 playbooks that are, best practice for different parts of the borrower's journey. So our goal is to double that and just to really, dig in at all those different spots. And so I think that's a great way that we can help. And so we'll be kind of sharing what those playbooks are. We'll be sharing more about kind of the data side of things as well. And I do think lastly, it's a little bit early, but I think, we are focused on the sort of machine learning, artificial intelligence side of things, and particularly maybe like around the lead scoring, or understanding certain borrowers' behavior to maybe re-engage with them. And so, again, for us, it's all around that sales funnel. How can we help you convert more leads, do more loans, get more repeat business? And so, for us, it's playbooks, it's more data. And then I think second half of next year, it's an emphasis in the AI side to really be a little bit more predictive and help, to what you said earlier, Brian, kind of get out in front of things with your database and your customers
Right.
a little bit. So I think that's next year in a nutshell, if you will.
Love it. Well, Spencer, this has been awesome for me. Like I said earlier, I love to learn about cool people, cool companies, and cool products. And you checked all three for me, so thank you for that. And thanks for coming on our podcast.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Come back next Friday for our next episode. Thank you.